Hey everybody, welcome, and thanks for checking out another action-packed edition of the OverMark Podcast. We're your hosts, TJ and Dave, and today we're going to be talking about Raw from 5/12/25, plus a Today in Wrestling History segment. So, as usual, follow us on our socials, OverMark ENT. If you're thinking about a social media, it's on there as that, so just appreciate you guys following us, liking us, and doing all that usual stuff that everybody asks you to do. So we're just going to go ahead and jump right into it, right? So
yeah.
we're going to, like I said, check out WWE Raw from 5/12/25, which had an attendance of 10,034. The current setup was for 10,546, so they had 512 available. It was close to a sellout, and I'm sure that they had that place filled up that night by that time. But
Yeah.
we started off, we had the recap air of last week's main event, Jey Uso versus Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. Jey retained after chaos in the match, if you don't remember last week. It was a really good match. Last week's Raw was pretty good. Little spoiler alert, I feel like that one was better than this one. Right, Dave?
Yep. Yeah.
So
Can't hit it out of the park every time, though, I guess.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and jump into it, but no, I guess we'll just discuss it. They've been doing this forever, but the recaps at the beginning of the episodes work. Maybe somebody missed last week. Maybe people just can't remember, but it's just important, shows the importance of what you're watching and what's going on, right?
Yeah.
So Punk enters to a loud pop. The crowd was singing his song, like always. If you got a catchy song, they're going to be singing it. He calls Louisville home, which is an OVW reference. Says he's pissed off but focused. Admits enemy number one is himself, but he's been here before with Paul Heyman betrayals. Says Jey warned him about Heyman. Calls Paul the Penguin. Calls Seth Timo CM Punk. Mocks his persona and style. Challenges Paul Heyman and Rollins directly. You're nothing but a song, kid. And then he's like, eventually that bell's going to ring. So Punk was pretty good here. And then Rollins and Breakker interrupt. Rollins and Braun Breaker step onto the stage to massive boos. Says Punk is gaslighting the fans and Heyman never betrayed him. Claims Punk is the reason Rollins isn't champion and says Punk wants to die a martyr and Rollins is ready to make that happen. Both these guys' delivery was pretty good. Rollins had that fucking snake outfit. His pants were the same color too, but you couldn't see it till he got knocked over since the fucking jacket was so big. But Breaker.
Him and Breaker looked like they were dressed like fucking Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan's characters from Rush Hour in one of the scenes. Like, Seth Rollins was wearing the Chris Tucker outfit and Breaker was wearing the Jackie Chan outfit. It's 100% a thing.
I'll have to look that up, but
there was a meme of it. But anyway, continue. Sorry.
If they weren't getting boos last week, for the majority, they were this week. Breaker hits the ring first, starts brawling with Punk. Punk fights back briefly, but Rollins joins in for the beatdown. I don't know if you saw it. Did you see those, like, the ground and pound Breaker was doing last night that didn't even come close?
Didn't look great.
Yeah. But Sami Zayn runs in for the save, but gets overwhelmed. Jey Uso arrives, super kicks Rollins to a pop. Breaker counters Jey, but Zayn recovers with a steel chair. Faces clear the ring. Rollins, Breaker, Heyman regroup at ramp. Results no match, but a major escalation in the Punk vs. Rollins feud. The finish, where the faces stand tall and Rollins crew running. Story progression, Punk and Rollins feud intensifies. Heyman's betrayal remains central, and Jey Uso and Sami Zayn are clearly aligned with Punk. I like seeing Jey come out here. This is the major story going on the show, so it's cool seeing everybody involved. But what'd you think, Dave?
That was pretty good stuff. I enjoy everything that Punk does. The Sami Zayn, everybody kind of ran in one at a time so that they could all. Our friend Prez calls that Jackie Channing, when dudes are running in one at a time, like in an old kung fu movie, so that they can get their ass whipped. They always portray I talked about this. They always portray the faces as kind of dumb. and it probably would have made sense for, Sammy and Jey to run in at the same time, but also then the heels wouldn't be able to get any heat. So, they did it the right way, but it's just, sometimes they portray them as stupid.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good shit.
I agree. I enjoyed it a lot. And Sammy's probably one of my favorite parts of this whole thing. He's like kind of the glue that keeps these guys together, and he's super positive guy, and just that great underdog role here. So, it's you can't shit on anything that happened here, and I'm looking forward to more. Sorry, go ahead.
You think Sammy turns on him and ends up being the third man, or is that just too outlandish?
No, that's not going to happen. That kind of defeats the whole purpose of his character.
Yeah.
It's like I don't see that happening. But take us into the next one here with the War Raiders versus American Made.
Oh boy, those of you that have listened to us before, TJ and I have explained, talking about AEW Collision. It's hard to watch, and then it's hard to talk about. So that's how I feel about both of these teams. The WWE's tag team division isn't doing so great right now. There's some bright spots, but this ain't it. But anyway, the New Day joined the commentary for the match.
They're really good on commentary every time they do it. They're funny, man.
They are. They were out there shit talking Pat about how they enjoyed watching him get his ass kicked by Gunther, and Kofi had some pretty good one-liners about that. He was telling Pat that he watched the match 4 times already, and then they're like, "Well, how did you watch it 4 times already?" And Kofi hit him with a "You make time for things that you need to," and it was, I don't know, that shit popped me. I thought that was funny. But anyway, early in the match, Ivar and Brutus brawl before tags are made. Eric and Julius versus Julius. I'm sorry. American Made gains momentum with quick tags and teamwork. Julius knocks Ivar off the apron, cutting off a tag. Brutus suplexes Eric to the outside after catching a mid dive. Huge move, gets an applause from the New Day. That was actually pretty nice. I give credit where credit's due.
Yeah, that was good.
And then we go to a commercial break. We come back from the break mid-match. Ivar dominates both Creed brothers. This guy looks like he dominates the all-you-can-eat fucking buffet. But he charges into Julius in the corner and goes up top. Julius intercepts him with an avalanche suplex, which is, pretty nice, leading to a Brutus moonsault for a near fall. Closing segment. Can't wait to get the fuck out of here. Ivar tags in Eric, who unleashes a flurry of offense before tagging out. Sequence of tags and chaos breaks it down, and all 4 men are laid out in the ring. Brutus recovers, takes down Ivar with help from Julius. Double team combo leads to a near fall, but Eric breaks it up. Outside interference, Eric argues with Xavier Woods at ringside. Kofi knocks Ivar off the top rope during the chaos. American Made capitalize with the Brutus ball for the pin and the win. The finish of the match is the outside interference from the New Day help American Made land a Brutus ball on Ivar for the win. Pinfall winners, American Made. The real winners of this are us, because the segment is almost over. The post-match notes are: tension is teased between the New Day and the War Raiders after interference. American Made building momentum in the tag division with the upset win. Man. Wow. What did you think of all of that?
Jeez, that felt like forever. You just fucking reading it, man. Like, I don't know. It's kind of tough to watch this, and I understand why they're doing it. I mean, they have to feature these guys somewhere, somehow, and get the division on track in some way. But they're I feel like they're kind of doing the thing that AEW does, and just kind of having matches for the sake of matches with maybe stories that aren't so great, and it's just they'll figure it out, I'm sure. But I mean, fuck, you got that double cheeseburger guy there, and I don't know, and that's just fuck.
I have that match on my TV right now. The guy just threw the bald guy threw the fat guy into one of the Creed guys, ass first in the face while he was sitting down in the corner. Just hugged him. Big old dude, ass right in your face.
Yeah.
They'd be like, "We want to do this spot," and I'm like, "Fuck that."
No thanks. Maybe next time.
But yeah. So there was that. Why don't you take us into the next match? It was significantly better than this one.
Yeah, with Penta versus Chad Gable.
Yeah.
So Penta entered to a strong crowd reaction. I mean, he's been getting that every time that people are real into him. Chad,
Super over.
yeah, his entrance is cool as hell though.
Yeah, I enjoy the revamped version of his entrance music that they did with Adam Jones from Tool.
Yeah, it's nice, and then all the fucking pyro and the spinny
Yeah,
thing.
they did it for Ray Phoenix too.
Yeah.
Adam Jones redid his as well.
That's badass.
Yeah.
But Chad Gable's entrance occurs during the commercial break. Pat McAfee returns to commentary following his match at Backlash. Why did McAfee get a TV entrance and not Gable when he's actually in the match? Yeah, that's funny. And then Pat McAfee has that stupid fucking sounding song, and he comes out, and I think he stood on the table, and they were selling what he was doing more than what was going on in the ring. And I don't know.
The dudes on the ring are just standing there like,
yeah, I bet you Penta was like, what the fuck is this? Am I wrestling this guy too? But
it's a triple threat.
Yeah, Penta starts hot, but Gable grounds him with mat wrestling. Crowd boos as Gable rips at Penta's mask. Commentary references El Grande Americana's Tour of Mexico storyline. Mid-match, we got Penta attempting a dive but gets cut off midair by Gable's diving headbutt. Gable shouts Lucha Libre sucks. As heat builds, Penta rallies with a flurry, sends Gable to the ropes, hits a corner double boot, and gets a 2 count. Closing sequence. Gable catches Penta off the ropes with the German suplex near fall. Gable attempts another diving headbutt. Penta counters midair with the codebreaker near fall. Gable takes control again, lands a moonsault after dodging a backstabber near fall. Penta hits a super kick, then sets up for the sacrifice. Gable counters into an ankle lock, but Penta escapes with a roll through pin attempt. Both men trade cradles, counters, lead to the top rope. Penta hits a Mexican Destroyer off the top rope for the pinfall victory. That was the finish. Penta won with the pinfall, like we said. Post-match, Gable rolls to the outside, furious. Starting back, staring at a celebrating Penta. Commentary continues teasing the El Grande Americano identity. Michael Cole was just saying it was him or whatever. And,
yeah.
And then he had, fucking the guy that just came out. Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee was like healing it up for Gable the whole match, and he was on his side and calling Cole out for being biased or some shit. But it was a pretty good match.
Pretty cool.
It was probably the best one of the night.
Oh yeah. If not, it's up there. Like 1A, 1B type of situation.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Not too much to go on about it. Just the ending was real nice. Like you always say, it's when there's only one guy doing it, or maybe at the max 2, and you use it once a match, it can kind of be the finish. It sure looks like one.
Oh yeah, the destroyers are awesome, and the him being on the top rope and nailing it was really cool.
Yeah, I agree. But unless you got anything to add, we can just move on.
No, I mean, that was a good match. That's it. We don't have anything negative to say.
Both these guys
Those guys
good.
know what they're doing. Yeah.
Go ahead and move on.
So from there we go to a backstage segment with Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker, which is coincidentally on my TV right now. Seth is talking strategy ahead of the upcoming tag match with Breaker at Saturday night's main event. He warns that CM Punk and Sami Zayn have no idea what he's capable of. And he ends the conversation whispering something to Breaker, who nods and leaves the room. There's a mystery teased heading into our match that's coming up. But before that, we get another backstage segment with Adam Pearce and Jey Uso. Adam Pearce has a brief exchange with Jey. He mentions something will be officially announced later in the show. Jey listens intently, and he's scheduled to appear next, likely to address the situation. Then fucking Jey Uso comes out. He's coming through the crowd like he usually does, and he stops. And before he goes down the stairs, he turns around and he looks that there's a little segment slightly higher. So he goes up about 10 stairs, and he's standing up there. Real awkward exchange between one of the fans that's just kind of like standing there not knowing what to do when everybody else in the crowd is doing the yeet thing and he's up there doing it. I don't know if the guy was just like a older gentleman there bringing like his grandson, or if it was a special needs individual. That's the only two people I would. The special needs guy would know what to do the yeet before like the random old guy that probably doesn't always watch wrestling. The guy had a beer.
Remember, he picked up the little kid too.
Yeah, I was gonna get to that next part, and then he starts heading down, and he picks up this kid, and he's geeting with the kid. Cool that he's doing stuff like that every week. Kids will remember that for the rest of their life. We've talked about it before. One of these kids is going to be in the future on a wrestler, and they'll be showing the highlight. Oh, this is him doing the yeet with Jey Uso back in 2025, and that'll be cool. So he gets out there, and he makes his lengthy entrance. It feels like this shit's getting longer every week. So, as much as I like Jey Uso,
it's about the same.
But he gets out there, and he starts to simmer down, and the crowd chants one more time at him. So he runs it back real quick. He's doing it a little faster on the run back here, though, which is nice. And then he, tells everybody the world heavyweight champion is in their city. He acknowledges there's a target on his back as the champ. He calls out Logan Paul, referencing the recent trash talk and sneak attacks. Promises that after Saturday night's main event, he will still be champion. And then boom, Gunther comes out. While he's coming out, he's getting a smattering of boos and a "you tapped out" chance. Gunther gets into the ring, and he says that he understands the pressure of being champ, and says that Jey is not a natural champion like he was, and says if Jey won't share the news, he will. Says Gunther will face whoever leaves Saturday night main event as world heavyweight champion. And the match is set for June 9th, which I believe is Money in the Bank. So whoever's world heavyweight champion at Money in the Bank, which we assume will be Uso. Excuse me, had a hiccup there. And then they had a verbal exchange. Jey mocks Gunther again for tapping out, says that he's going to handle the YouTuber, Logan Paul, first, and then he'll be ready to run it back with Gunther. And Gunther exits while staring down the champ. And let's see here. I lost my place. Commentary reminds us that Saturday night main event tag match is coming up, and Jey has a seizure doing his thing. And what did you think of all that, TJ?
I mean, it was cool, from the thing where he started in the back and was talking to Adam Pearce and talking about the announcement. Then he goes out there, and the interest was good. They're still into it. He's still really over, maybe a little bit more over the past couple of weeks than he was the ones before that. And Gunther's the man. I liked everybody's delivery. It was good stuff. And this is they always give the rematch, so this has to happen. And it's natural shit that always happens in the show. And the match will be good, I'm sure, when they have it. And I doubt Gunther will end up winning, but they always have the rematch. And at least it keeps both guys busy and keeps Gunther in the spotlight a little bit longer in that world heavyweight title scene. But I'm not sure what they're going to do with him after that, but they're definitely not taking it off Jey this early.
And what are they going to do with him in the meantime? Because he's essentially not doing anything for a month. Because I
have no clue.
Yeah, he'll probably come out and do promos, or there'll be some kind of shit with Jey Uso, or maybe there'll be shit with Sammy and Punk. Maybe he'll end up fucking teaming up with Rollins. I doubt, but who knows what we'll see. Survivor Series will probably be pretty cool this year.
Well,
a lot of potential for that. But yeah, we're getting way out of ourselves and way off track.
Speaking of that, we at least know what we're going to see next. That's the Memoriam of Sabu tribute. This is probably one of the best tributes they've ever done on the show. It was really nice. It was high quality.
Really good at these. Yeah.
Well, that's one thing you can give AEW is like when AEW does a fucking tribute, it's nice, and sometimes it'll last for a while. And I think maybe that they wanted to step up because of that. Like, oh fuck, we can't have them doing the tributes better than us. But I mean, this was only like 3-4 minutes. On AEW they'll have it last fucking 30. But
yeah.
It was cool. They had the picture that they had of him was really new too. It was like HD.
Yep.
But Michael Cole summarily addressed the Wrestling World mourning the loss of Sabu, which happened the other day. We had the short on it, or no, we didn't do a short. We did a video on it.
It was part of our breaking news. Yeah.
and a slideshow tribute airs, spotlighting iconic moments from Sabu's legendary hardcore career, ECW barbed wire matches, his signature Arabian facebuster, chair assist dives, memorable bouts across ECW, WWE, and beyond. Final note before break: the crowd is heard chanting "Thank you, Sabu." Raw fades with the commercial break in silence, honoring the moment. I gotta wonder, like, who all in that fucking crowd even knows who Sabu is. Like, they probably ended up reading it the other day on a wrestling website or something for the first time, because I don't know. I just look out in that crowd and
then they looked up his videos and they were like, "Oh shit,
Yeah.
This guy was awesome." Well, no, you got to think how expensive these tickets are. The only people that can afford to go to these shows are smart fans that have money.
I don't think that's necessarily 100% true. On SmackDown, I want you to look at the people. I was Monday, or go back and look Monday at the entrance. You're watching it now. The next time somebody comes in, it's a lot of younger kids, and maybe they're there with their family. But I mean,
there are quite a few kids. I'm seeing it right now.
Yeah, that's and
so there's a lot of Kentucky people too.
Yeah,
for lack of a better term.
I'm not saying that there's not people that know, but it's like there's sure a lot of people that I bet don't. But yeah, it was cool. I like seeing it, and it was super classy. It was nice of them to do that, and it sucks that happened, and not much more to say about it.
Tasteful and well handled, yeah.
Why don't you toss us to this backstage segment we had with Ludwig Kaiser?
Ooh, he's getting some TV time. It feels like we haven't seen this dude in a while, and we're not going to see him for a while, meaning that his camera time's real short here.
Yeah,
he begins a backstage promo, doesn't get very far. A commotion off screen, it almost instantly interrupts the segment, and the camera cuts to find Jey Uso laid out, clearly attacked. Braun Breaker is seen walking away from the scenes. No words, just destruction. The officials run in to check on Jey. Sami Zayn appears, checking on him with concern. The implications of this is that Jey Uso may be compromised ahead of the match versus Logan Paul.
Well, they're doing a match with him and Braun too before that, I feel like.
Are they?
Or maybe it's after, but they're doing a match against him and Braun. They announced it in the show.
Maybe it'll be on Raw or something, because the Saturday night main event is going to be him versus Logan Paul.
Yeah.
But anyway, it'll happen at some point, and then Braun Breaker sends a aggressive and personal message, and it's a good little backstage segment. I like how they're presenting Braun Breaker. They're making him he's the muscle of the group, and he's a badass, and they've been presenting him as a badass the whole time. And if they keep doing with him what they're doing with him, the sky's the limit for this kid. What do you think about all of this, including your old pal Ludwig?
I don't know. Fuck that guy. I don't want to see him anymore. He reminds me of that one character on The Office, Gabe. Just reminds me of some creep. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want him around any kids that I know. Let's just put it that way. But
he's got to have something good going on. He landed Tiffany Stratton.
Yeah, that women have a lot of them have terrible taste in men.
Oh shit!
He's probably just the guy that's there, but I don't know. Let's not get into that one.
Oh no!
But yeah, I mean, this was all right. He's not too bad. He just looks weird to me, but I'm sure he probably wouldn't be too happy about the way I look either.
What would he say about us?
Yeah. But yeah, it's cool they're furthering it, and then Braun's going to be a little bit busy with Jey at some point, so he's going to be getting beat up, and I don't know.
It feels like Jay's getting beat up every fucking week.
They all are.
Now.
Remember that was happening to Cody too. That's how Triple H books the faces, to just get beat up all the time. Like Stone Cold wasn't getting fucking beat up, and when he was, it was like 6 motherfuckers doing it.
Right. He'd beat up like 3 or 4 guys, but you start getting like 5 or 6 out there. That was the magic number.
Yeah. But we can go ahead and move on if you want. With this match next, it's AJ Styles versus Finn Balor. This is a pretty good match. Sorry about that. I liked it a lot. So Carlito came out and JD McDonough as well. Mysterio wasn't out there, Dom, and they were all asking like, "Where's he at? Where's Dom?" Like, so anytime that
they were hollering it to like Carlito and JD to kind of sow the seeds, as they say.
Yeah, but interference involvement was Judgment Day later with Penta interfering too. But in the opening moments, AJ gets a loud crowd support as the match begins. Quick chain wrestling. Balor takes AJ down, but Styles fires back. AJ lands a drop kick, sending Balor out to regroup with JD and Carlito. Tension brews ringside as we head to the first commercial break. Mid-match, when we come back from the break, Balor has regained control, but AJ fights back with a backbreaker, a snap suplex, knee drop, which had a near fall. Balor catches a breather, hits some stiff kicks to swing momentum. Abdominal stretch applied by Finn, working over AJ's midsection. AJ escapes and gets a near fall off a takedown. We got a distraction spot after that when JD hops on the apron, distracting AJ. Balor rolls him up for a 2 count. They collide mid-ring, both men down as we hit the second commercial break. The final sequence when we come back from the break was a superplex by Styles, wakes up the crowd, they trade big strikes, Balor hits a Pele kick, Styles counters onto a calf crutcher, the rope break saves Balor, and the finishing exchange saw Balor hitting a sling blade and a corner drop kick, sets up for a coup de grace. Balor collapses mid-top rope, Styles hits a Styles clash, only a 2 count, crowd chants this is awesome, final stretch, Styles goes for a phenomenal forearm, but Judgment Day interferes. Penta jumps the barricade, attacking JD and Carlito to even the odds. Styles uses the moment to hit a second phenomenal forearm on Balor. In the finish saw the second phenomenal forearm after Judgment Day interference is neutralized by Penta. We got the pin after that by AJ to Balor. Styles gets a clean victory, aided by Penta. Tensions continue to build between Judgment Day and Penta and AJ. Dominic's absence remains unexplained in the segment. It was good. I liked it. It was a good match. It's cool seeing all these little stories intertwine, because we got basically, I feel like they're going to end up doing another triple threat. It's going to have AJ, Dom, and Penta in it, because why else would they have them both going for that belt at the same time? So I think we should expect to see that soon. And overall, it was a good match, good segment, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, AJ and Balor are probably 2 of the better wrestlers on the roster. They had a really good match.
And they were both in the Bullet Club, you remember, back in the day?
Yeah.
I think at the same time. Do. Either that or Finn Balor's the one that took it over after AJ left.
That Styles clash that he landed was so clean. He was getting him up off the ground. It wasn't like a normal way of how he would have applied it. It was kind of out of nowhere, which that's a move that's kind of tricky to hit out of nowhere. So that was pretty good performance. Yeah.
So anyway, to the next performance we had here. I like this too.
Oh boy, we get Becky Lynch speaks live in Louisville. Entrance and reaction. Becky makes her way to the ring. She receives a mixed reaction from the Louisville crowd, with cheers fading into boos. The highlights of the promo are Becky declares herself what fans think. Declares that despite what fans think, she was not beaten at Saturday's show. She says there were 2 outcomes. One woman went to the hospital and the other got to celebrate. She claims that even after everything Lyra Valkyria was done, she still stands tall. Becky turns on the crowd, blaming them for their disloyalty. The crowd boos grow louder as she rips them, accusing them of turning their backs on her. Becky promises that every woman in the locker room will soon understand what it means to be held down by the man, and her music hits as she leaves the ring to a chorus of boos. The segment summary Becky is essentially leaning full on into her heel persona. It escalates the feud with Lyra, and it sets up future conflicts with women's division at large. I enjoyed her delivery on this promo. It sounds like that she believes everything that she's saying, which is, as we all know, is super important in the promos. What did you think about all this?
Yeah, no, she cut a really good promo, man. It was as good as it gets. It's super believable. Everything in the way that she talked about it made sense. For about the first 5 seconds is a little bit weird because her voice just sounds strange, but she did a really good job, man. And I think a lot of people are kind of getting bored with her, but if she keeps doing shit like this, I don't see how you could be bored with her. She's a good talent, and her matches, like the one at the pay-per-view, was fucking awesome. And she's cutting promos like this. I don't see why you wouldn't be looking forward to seeing her on Monday every week. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. So why don't you take us into the main event?
This was a decent match. I feel like I probably expected more from it than what actually happened, but overall, my expectations don't really define what the match was. It was pretty good. It was a tag match with Io Sky, Rhea Ripley versus Julia and Roxanne Perez. We both got a pretty good reaction for Io and Rhea. Rhea still gets the best reactions on the show. I feel like when she comes out, people fucking go nuts. So key themes here: champion alliances, tension brewing, spotlight on Julia and Roxanne. But I feel like after the match, Rhea was looking at the belt when she was holding Io's arm up. So there's something going on there too. Yeah. But we got the opening sequence. Match starts with Io Sky versus Roxanne Perez. Io dominates early, grounding Perez with strikes and a side headlock. Io goes after Julia unprovoked, triggering a quick tag in and a double team from the challengers. Chaos erupts as Rhea and Perez clash, leading to the commercial break. Mid-match, when we come back, Io tries to tag Rhea, but Perez blocks the tag. Io finally escapes, and Rhea Ripley storms in, hitting a razor's edge on Perez near fall. That looked pretty good. All her stuff, she lays in pretty well, and all these girls are good at selling and taking the move. So when you're watching it, it doesn't really look like anything's phony. They've had a lot of their females before. I feel like the last 4 years had a lot of that problem with their shit not looking like they laid it in good. But Perez fights back with a hurricanrana, tags Julian, who delivers a headbutt. Julian Perez double team Ripley. Then Perez hits a moonsault, 2 count only. Julia and Io trade a high-speed offense, ending in a basement drop kick by Sky. Perez DDTs Ripley, giving Julia a chance to hit a near fall on Io. Io responds with a double stomp, goes for the over the moonsault. Perez breaks the pin. And then we got the finish breakdown here. All 4 women brawl in the ring. Julia blocks Sky's corner charge, climbs up unaware. Rhea made a blind tag. Sky takes out Roxanne, and Ripley hits a riptide on Julia. Io holds Perez as Ripley scores the win. The finish was the riptide on Julia and Io preventing the breakup. Winner, Rhea and Io Sky. Post-match, Rhea and Io celebrate, but the mood shifts when Rhea takes a long look at the Women's World Championship. A strong but subtle stare down closes the show, teasing future tension. And then after that, we're gonna have a segment here. But what'd you think about that, Dave?
It was a pretty good match. It's what we come to expect from these women.
Yeah. Didn't blow you away.
Women, yeah, it wasn't great, but it was good. Women's wrestling is in the best spot that it's probably been in our lives. Probably the best spot that it's been in ever. The future's real bright for this.
Yeah, women's wrestling's never been featured more.
Little fun fact for you for this match was the first. Roxanne is the first or the youngest woman to main event a women's match on Raw history, and also the first non-main roster woman to main event a Raw match in history. So 2 cool little statistics there for our little 23-year-old friend. She's doing big things at a young age. Good for her.
For sure. And overall, this is a pretty average
decent episode.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit above average, but it didn't blow me away, but it had some good segments, and I really enjoyed parts of it, and hopefully they can step it up a little bit next week, right?
Yeah, like a C+, probably, most of it.
Let's go ahead and step on in to this new segment that we got here, or the next one, I mean. Go ahead, Dave.
So we got Today in Wrestling History. We had to reach deep. There wasn't a whole lot of shit for today in
May
particular
13.
In wrestling history. But here we are. So today we're going to be talking about the May 13th WWE edition of Raw from 2002. And the location was the Air Canada Center in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. It had a 3.9 on the Nielsen ratings. I couldn't find any ticket sales numbers.
They would lose their mind to get that kind of rating today.
Right. If you could get a 3.9 now, you're doing great. That's still good numbers.
That's some of the best you can get if you're not the NFL or NBA.
Right. So basically, what we're going to do here is just talk a little bit about the matches that were featured on the episode, because neither one of us actually watched the episode recently. We both would have watched it back in the day for sure, but we're going off of memory here and a little bit of the notes. So there was a pretty cool handicap match that was the Hardy Boys versus Brock Lesnar. People have seen this match. This match is pretty famous. That's featured on a lot of highlights for Brock Lesnar, and for good reason. Lesnar dominated most of the match, especially early on with his power game. And the Hardys used fast tags and double team attacks to gain momentum. And, Lesnar beat the shit out of dudes and, refused to break a hold. And, well, before he refused to break a hold, he assaulted the two men with the chair. That's backwards. And then he refused to break a hold. And the finish of the match was that Lesnar was disqualified for using the steel chair. And the Hardy Boys defeated Brock Lesnar via DQ. But they really lost because Brock Lesnar kicked the shit out of him. And this was pretty early on Brock, in his young 20s. Big stud Brock. He whipped their asses pretty good. I'm sure they were pretty sore the next day. What did you
most guys
remember about this?
Well, I'm just thinking like most guys probably back then were like, oh fuck, I gotta wrestle him. This is gonna be great.
Yeah,
get the shit kicked out of you. But it was all right. I remember watching the show actually, but it's it's such a long time ago. But this is pretty good. I mean, he beat the shit out of him. Afterwards, you're like, oh man, this guy sure did beat them up. But this next one,
they made him look strong early on. He like, oh, this guy could be somebody someday, and obviously here we are.
But the next one I don't think is as memorable. It's Eddie Guerrero versus Shawn Stasiak. It was a quick squash with Eddie overwhelming him. Guerrero hit the frog splash for the win. The result, that right there. It was 1:09 when it ended with the frog splash.
I wonder if that counts the entrances or not. I assume that's just the ring time because it takes them both at least a minute to get to the ring.
Yeah, but no, Eddie's the man. I don't remember this match at all, but everybody hated Shawn Stasiak, so I'm sure they enjoyed seeing him get squashed.
If he wrestled now, he would be the kind of guy that would be like, why the fuck is this guy on? Get this guy off my fucking TV now.
Yeah, most likely. But we can go into the next one here. Molly Holly versus Terry Reynolds.
Oh boy. Molly controlled most of the match using grappling and power. Terry attempted to come back, but Molly hit her with the Molly go round. And, Molly wins. We had about a 2.5 minute match here. They weren't reinventing the wheel.
Women's wrestling back then wasn't too great. So, I mean, this is...
Molly was a really good wrestler. Terry was a valet.
Yeah. So
do with that information what you will, listeners. But yeah, Molly could go in the ring. She was probably one of the better in-ring of that era. She just, she was Molly Holly.
Yeah, not a lot to talk about there.
Take us into this next one, though, TJ. This is a big one. This is a pretty big deal.
The WWE Undisputed Championship, no disqualification match. Hulk Hogan versus Ric Flair. Now, this is all over YouTube. When you look up Hulk Hogan versus Ric Flair, I think this is the one that pops up more often than all the other ones. And it's a no DQ, so, they got to have fun. We don't have a long description of this shit here, but you want to do yourself a favor and have some entertainment. Go back and watch this shit. WWE Legends clashed in their only televised WWE singles match. Flair used low blows and dirty tactics. Hogan hulked up for the finish, and Flair with the leg drop. Hulk Hogan defeated Ric Flair to retain the WWE Undisputed title. This is pretty decent or whatever. Of course, the Hulkster's going to win, and I bet you Flair was tired of putting that son of a bitch over. It was an 45 seconds, by the way, so this lasted almost 4 times longer than the Terry Reynolds and Molly Holly match. And could you imagine, like, on any television
longest match on the card?
But could you imagine any show now that's for their main world title, even on TV, it wouldn't last 8 minutes and 45 seconds. It would be like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, Flair and Hogan were both.
Well, these guys didn't need to do that to get the point across, and you already got their money in hand, dude. So just go out there and have the match, brother. What's the point?
We'll call it in the ring, dude.
Oh yeah. But go ahead and call this next one for us.
Oh boy. The next one's kind of wonky. We got a mixed tag match with the women's title and the hardcore titles on the line. So for some reason, the women's title and the hardcore title are being defended in the same match as a tag team match. I'm not sure why. I can't recall, but here we are. Bubba Ray Dudley teams with Trish Stratus versus Steven Richards and Jazz, who are the respective champions defending their titles. Shout out to Stevie Richards out there. He big time YouTuber now. He's doing great on his channel, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, he is.
But he didn't do so great in this match. Both titles were defended simultaneously by the champs. Chaos broke out as weapons were used. Trish pinned Jazz to the women's title, and Bubba. It says it retained the hardcore title, but that doesn't seem right because it lists Steven Richards as the champion there. So I might have fucked up on the notes there. Either way, we come out of the match with Trish and Bubba Ray having the championships. The match lasted 4 minutes and 11 seconds. And, it was what it was.
I bet you they love that. Like, man, just 4 minutes? Oh, man, that ain't going to be bad at all.
Nope. Be back at catering in no time, Bubba Ray.
Yeah, but, I mean, there's not a lot to say there. It's what a fucking mess. That's the kind of shit that they were doing at the time because it was coming off the heels of the Attitude Era. I actually don't know if it was the Ruthless Aggression yet, but they were coming off the heels of a really hot period, and they were throwing shit at the wall and seeing if it stuck.
I don't think they were into the Ruthless Aggression. I think that was more like 2004 or 5. So we were still.
Yeah, but 2002 wasn't 99. They weren't getting 2002 wasn't 99. They weren't getting the same viewership.
Right.
So they were starting to decline a little bit. So they were just, throwing random matches like that.
Well, speaking of 1999, why don't you take us into the next match?
With the NWO, the Big Show and X-Pac versus Bradshaw. And what the fuck is that?
The second NWO that, when Vince brought him back and then the shit just didn't work out.
Yeah, well, it was better than this when he first brought it back. When it was just the original 3 with it. But Big Show was in it. And after that point, it's like, what the fuck? But Bradshaw fought hard alone, landing stiff shots. NWO's numbers caught up and Big Show hit a choke slam. The finish was 4 minutes and 34 minutes in, and the NWO defeated Bradshaw. Kind of nuts that it took him that long, but
right. You would think with Big Show and X-Pac, you'd mow through them pretty quick, even though it's Bradshaw. But at least it was better than the Snitsky.
2 handicap matches in one night.
Yep, that's stinks of Vince Russo, but he was gone by then.
Yeah, it just again, I don't know. Vince lost touch pretty quick. But you want to take us into the next one? There's not much to say about
so we got probably the best thing of the night. We got a main event lumberjack match of Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Booker T. And as is tradition with a lumberjack match, the ring was surrounded by a bunch of WWE superstars. Austin fought through the outside interference, landed the Stone Cold Stunner on Booker T. 5.5 minute match, 5.5 stars. No, I'm just kidding. It was an average match. It was cool to see Austin and Booker out there. I do remember this match. Largely entertaining. Anything that Steve and Booker did together was always good, if not great. This was probably just another night at the office for these guys. What do you think about that kind of stuff and the legacy of Steve and Booker T together?
I mean, everybody remembers the market thing, but they had a really good fucking feud. That was my favorite thing going on at this time. I mean, obviously anything with Stone Cold was, but this is at the tail end of him doing in-ring shit, right?
He was winding it down.
Yeah, but it was awesome. Booker T was great coming over. He was the most successful guy. And he was the first guy to come over, so he had a head start compared to the other guys. But obviously Hogan was the champion here, but I feel like Booker shined. He really showed what he was capable of coming over, and they put him with Stone Cold for a reason. And I really enjoyed the feud, and that's about it. It was good, and this was actually a pretty decent episode of Raw. I liked it.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment of that. Well, anyhow, you ready to get the fuck out of here?
Yeah, go ahead. Take us on. This was a good one. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I did too. Cool history segment. Decent episode of Raw. We're having a good time. Oh, there was that cool Styles clash I just saw there on the TV. Anyway, so what's coming next is we'll see you guys on Thursday for the day after Dynamite episode. Make sure you give us a follow on all of our socials at OverMark ENT. Thanks for listening, Overmaniacs. We'll see you guys next time. Have a good rest of the week. Or next couple days, I should say, because we'll see you again this week.
Yeah, we will. Take it easy, brothers. We'll talk to you soon.